Mercury and Scorpio. What is Mercury? Mercury is basically the way we think and communicate. It's basically air. So Mercury loves being in air signs. But basically, now being that Scorpio is in here, basically is in a water sign. So of course, water is more intuition, inward. Feel me? And of course, it's fixed water when it's dealing with Scorpio. So of course, when Mercury is in Scorpio, everybody's gonna feel the need to basically think and communicate more on a deeper level, on a more not too surface level, but more intellectual, like more deep, more desirable, more investigation, more hidden agendas, more looking at things overall and not just basically looking at it in one concept. Having more meanings and reasonings of understanding and overstanding and communication. But of course, when it's fixed water, it means it's fixated in its own way of thinking and communicating. Of course, there may be stubbornness too during this time too, as far as looking at this perspective. But when we got Mercury and Scorpio, everybody gonna feel the need to basically go deep, dive deep. For me, maybe thinking about sex or motherfucking re- rebirth, regeneration, finding new ways to basically think and communicate and interact with people, places, and things. It's like a new concept, a new aura, a new orb. For me, this here for about a couple weeks. So ride the frequency in your own way of being fixed, and things that go very smooth. The moment you start to play out differently, things are basically you'll basically be showing your darker side. So Mercury's in Scorpio. For me, you got to do things in a more private, more hit behind the scenes kind of level. For me, you don't want to basically be too open and too crazy and shit. So of course, when this is in Scorpio, for me, that's how it's gonna play out into these natures. You're gonna feel the need to do investigations. You're gonna basically feel the need to look at things on a more higher, more broad perspective kind of manner during this time. So of course, this is what we're gonna be dealing with. Of course, you gotta also be getting ready for that Mercury and Scorpio when it goes basically Pluto, when basically it goes retrograde, which is October 13th or October 10th, one of them days. So you want to make sure you get everything that's hidden, everything like finding like what's going on with yourself. I mean, getting connected with yourself. You want to basically go deep with that. You don't want to make you want to make sure everything is great because when that retrograde get here, shit's gonna really can cause more mental illness depending on how deep or how psychologically you're willing to take it, how willing you go far. And the universe only gonna give you what you can handle. For me, if you can't handle too much, then you just can't handle too much. For me, they can't give you more shit. You can't handle this shit. So you go watch up under that current, watch up under those waters, those rainbows. Things gonna get a little out of control and shit. So you want to make sure you utilizing your willpower, your passion, and your motive to basically transform anything that don't resonate with you or you don't want to resonate with it. So of course, and that's basically dealing with our emotions and shit like that. And of course, you got to make sure you're being consistent during this time too. For me, consistency is key. When you're consistent, things will basically get done. For me, and also you also may be channeling other people's feelings and emotions in the way you think and communicate during this time too. Because you know it's water. Water is basically like you pick up others' emotions. It's like the moon. It's perspective. So yeah. All right, look. When we got Mercury and Scorpio in your first house, basically you're gonna be finding hidden ways of transformation as far as how you express yourself, dealing with your personal life, your personal circumstances, situations, dealing with people, places, things, and concepts. For me, this is basically the 360, everything that's around you. Also, when it's in second house, you're gonna be dealing with more with your perspectives, dealing with your values, more hidden deep desires, dealing with that. You may feel the need to basically transform these things, or basically find a new way of out looking at these things, or basically finding things that you value, or finding out if people basically see you in their best interest on this time. When you got this in the third house, basically you're gonna be dealing more with your deep surroundings and locations with people, places, and things, siblings, or interactions with other people. That's in your concept as far as your coworkers and that matter too. You may feel the need to basically be watching these people, finding deeper ways of looking at them, or just seeing how they'll be basically taking the shape and form of the aspect of your in. So, or you may be basically looking at your surroundings during this time. Also, when this is in fourth house, basically you'll be looking, responding to family, deep family home, private matters and shit, seeing what's going on behind the scenes. And of course, this is a gift because you can basically see behind the scenes. You can read, especially when this, you can read between the lines. You can read people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions nowadays on basically what's on their motherfucking mind. So yeah, watch these motherfuckers. Fifth house basically dealing with deep self expressions as far as where you need to transform ways, where you can find new ways and new concepts of basically being more preservative and more actionate and centerizing yourself more in the public arena and basically finding new ways to basically express yourself, your desires, your passions, and your motives. Sixth house basically finding new deepness of work, daily routines, health routines, and patterns. You may feel the need to basically find ways where you can get better with your health or find ways to basically be more productive during this time and just find ways to basically interact with coworkers or basically take on new hidden works or hidden agendas. Maybe basically detaching from certain things that basically don't serve you in your best interest. When this is in seventh house, you're basically gonna be finding deeper ways to relating to people, places, and things, relationships, how to indulge with other people, places, and things, or who you indulge with, whether these people are in your best interest or they're not in your best interest during this time. Also it falls here, so there can be a lot of switch ups going on during this time too. Watch out for that. Also, eighth house, deep desires, deep passions, things you're more deeply desired for or strive for or basically passionate for. You may be finding ways to transform these things or see if it basically is in his best interest or if it's in his detriment interest as far as things being dead and surface level, which you don't really condemn on that. So you're gonna be basically looking deep into that or interacting with other people, places, and things, and seeing other sides of the surface and basically going behind the scenes during this time. When this is in ninth house, you're gonna be basically looking deep as far as your principles, your goals, and experiences during the time. So you're gonna feel the need to basically overlook or reevaluate the way you see things as far as the way you interact with people, places, and things, or experiences, or certain things that you just don't really feel the need that it don't serve you no purpose as far as spirituality, faith, religious, or anything like that perspective. This is when this is in tenth house. You're gonna be looking finding deep meanings and reasons as far as your careers, your goals, things you're motivated about, things that you want to see, how you want to see yourself in life, and striving for ways to where to change and look for stimulation during this time too. When this is in the 11th house, you're gonna be finding more deepness of your associates or people, places, and things you interact with. I mean, you may feel the need to basically whether you want to be around with these people or may detach from these people during this time, or how you see yourself more in the humanitarian figure. You may be going hard during this time, or you may basically find new ways of how you're gonna proceed yourself out there in the public arena. Also, when we got this in motherfucking Pisces, you're gonna be finding new, deeper ways on how you dream, how you vision, how you interact with people, places, and things, and looking at the world as in whether it's a fantasy or whether it's something that's helping you, or whether you're gonna basically find other ways to strive towards greater and better during this time. Of course, we're about to get into the signs. Now, when you got Scorpio, Mercury and Scorpio, Aries is basically challenges with self-expressions, anger, aggressions, conflicts, and shit. You may feel the need to basically you're gonna be coming across people, places, and things that misinterpret you as far as your actions and shit, the way you carry yourself, the way you interact or intervene with people. This may come up to the surface. And if you got a moon in Aries, basically this is gonna be a reflection that's heading right back at you as far as people, places, and things coming up with you with this way of overlooking things or basically misconception during the song, because it's impulsive mode, and the Scorpio is basically Aries, and Aries is Scorpio. Aries is basically more masculine, and Scorpio is like more feminine, more deep water. So of course, it's basically, especially the retrograde is here too. So watch that shit too. Yeah, yeah, don't forget about that. So yeah, feel the need to you're gonna feel the need to basically just basically do what you do. That's it. That's all. Don't let anything overshadow you or overthrow you. Also, when we got Taurus here, this is basically Scorpio and Taurus already mixed, so it's basically gonna be like opposing energy because Scorpio is more deep, more passion. For me, Taurus is a little stiff at times, but it's gonna be some stiffness going on as far as the way you look at your desires, where it could be comfort or it could be somewhere where things, people, places, things can relate to you during this time. And if you got a moon in Taurus, you're gonna be receiving this influence as far as stiffness or basically people, places, and things may resonate with you, or may not resonate with you, or take advantage of, or may not value. Also, when you got this in Gemini, basically you're gonna be more deeply rooted as far as talking about your actions, people, places, and things. People might basically express things about you or come up with things about you, or you may basically just got out of a motherfucking relationship. Motherfuckers just may lash out and you be like, oh, you don't do this, you don't do that for me. If of course you got this moon in Gemini, you're gonna be receiving this right back in a reflection mode. So watch out for that. Also, when we got Cancer in the mix, basically it's basically releasing deep desires or hidden things that was basically built in. Maybe feel the need to pour it out, or basically somebody maybe pouring something out at you as far as things that was hidden or secrets might basically get exposed during the time. You may just basically somebody may slip up and say something. So it can go both ways. Also, if the moon is here, you're gonna be receiving this from people, places, and things versus the sun pushing this out. When you got Leo here, it's basically um not oh shit what the fuck, not expressions as far as like be aware of the way you express yourself during this time, because people, places, and things may see it as you're being too open, too center stage right now, and you may be getting the provoke card as far as the way you carry your actions. From you don't be too out there. Learn how to basically stay fixed, say it, and look and do more investigation as far as you or others, so you can find ways of basically putting yourself out there. This way you won't be basically be outweighed and shit. If you got a moon in Leo, you're gonna be receiving this right back at you. And when we got this in Virgo, basically killing any analyzations and mental pursuits as far as you may be seeing things in a different perspectives during this time, or you may basically be finding things that was like hidden as far as like surface level during this time may pop up, and these can basically be thrown at you in a good way or a bad way. So it's depending on how you what state of being you in. If you got a moon in Virgo, this gonna be a reflection of somebody throwing this back at you. When we talking Libra, it's basically building deep personal approaches with other people, places, and things, and not being too inconsistent during this time. Make sure you want to look at things at a whole perspective. I mean, you may be looking back and reflecting on things where you can change them, basically bring a little bit more balance and seeing both ways of the spectrum and not just basically looking at it in your way. If you got a moon in Libra, you're gonna be receiving this right back. If you got Scorpio here, basically this is basically dealing with double energy, build ups and shit, new beginnings and new ways of basically, it's gonna be double because it's Mercury and Scorpio. So you can basically trip over, or you can basically find new ways and new desires where you can basically lead you to the right path. And if you got a moon in Scorpio, you're gonna be reflecting this right back to somebody else. Sagittarius, basically seeing new ways of having faith and spirituality and spiritual growth during this time. For me, you may get out of your illusion. You may go strive for something bigger and deeper. For me, you may just look at it behind the scenes and basically aim higher during this time instead of just basically looking into things, getting into things, and not having no backup about it. For me, you gotta investigate it more. For me, this give you a better, broad perspective. The moon and motherfucking Sagittarius, people gonna reflecting this back at you. Capricorn, this basically dealing with deep transformation as far as like ambitions, goals, and careers and shit. You may be relating to people, places, and things. And may be once saying shit about you, whether your family, your coworkers, your friends, or your associates. For me, y'all may feel the need to basically get into some deep ways of basically regenerating your own way of your careers and your lifespan during this time. So this is a good time to basically reflect this and not basically be too naive, basically have any self animosity, or things may be a little aggressive and may be a little challenging, may be showing off during the time. But take this in the right perspective, in the right way and shit. Moon and Capricorn, you're gonna be receiving this from somebody. Aquarius, basically deep freedom from internal or external changes as far as like less surface level during this time. For me, you want to basically be more feeling, add a little feeling emotion for me, because without feeling emotion, you can't move around. For me, you're just gonna be too stiff, too logical, too surface level. If you got a moon Aquarius, you're gonna be receiving this. And last but not least, be talking about Pisces. So, but of course, being that this is a rational part of this aspect during this time, failures, failures and shit, or hesitation can basically play a part during this time as far as what happened previously. But somebody resonate with you, or somebody don't resonate with you. People, places, and things may be reflecting this back at you. And if you got a moon in Pisces, people may feel the need to they still gonna use you as a crutch as far as whether y'all was going good turns or bad turns. So for me, this ain't the time to be passive. It's the time to basically dive deep. For me, that's why Mercury is in Scorpio, and that's the signs. I love y'all. Real shit.